Welcome to The Explainer. I am so thrilled you're here today because, wow, we are stepping into some truly mind-bending territory. We often think of our modern world as fully mapped out, right? Like science has neatly categorized everything. But India, man, it's a place steeped in so much deep history and rich folklore. It holds secrets right there in the landscape that just utterly shatter that illusion. Today, we're unpacking a series of baffling anomalies that challenge absolutely everything. We're talking human genetics, ancient metallurgy, and the very limits of our modern physics and logic. Okay, let's dive right into this. First, we'll look at when science falls short. Then, we'll turn our eyes upward to strange skies and sounds, venture into the echoes of ancient curses, and finally, look at a community where pure faith defies all logic. Section 1. When Science Falls Short, the Delhi Pillar, Kodini Twins, and Mumbai Vultures. Think about normal iron for a second. If you leave it out in harsh, humid weather, it's going to rapidly oxidize and rust away to nothing. But then you have the Delhi Pillar in the Qutub Minar complex. This thing has been standing there completely exposed to the elements for a staggering 1,600 years. And yet, zero rust. Literally no signs of rusting. Scientists are completely baffled by this. I mean, how on earth did ancient Gupta-era blacksmiths achieve this incredibly pure level of wrought iron? They somehow engineered a highly advanced protective phosphorus layer that modern science didn't fully figure out until centuries later. It really makes you wonder just how much profound ancient knowledge we've simply lost to time. So, moving from ancient chemistry to human biology. 200. I want you to just let that number sink in for a second. 200. Now, this isn't some statistic from a massive, sprawling metropolis. We're talking about the unassuming hamlet of Kodihani in Kerala. It's a tiny village with a population of roughly just 2,000 people. Yet there are over 200 sets of twins living there. The medical and genetic phenomenon happening in this small cluster of humanity is just completely unexplained. Doctors and researchers from all over the globe travel there, they scratch their heads, and they leave with absolutely zero answers. Let's head over to Mumbai, where biology is presenting a totally different kind of mystery at the Tower of Silence. So the Parsi community follows the sacred Zoroastrian tradition, where the bodies of the deceased are exposed to the sun and to carrion birds, like vultures. It's this ancient, vital practice meant to prevent the contamination of the sacred elements of earth and fire. But recently, there's been this severe, completely unexplained drop in the local vulture population. Like, they've just vanished. This biological anomaly is fundamentally disrupting centuries-old religious rites, and it's forcing the community to desperately seek out alternative natural decomposition solutions. So we've seen mysteries forged in iron, written in human DNA, and playing out in local ecosystems. But what happens when these anomalies leave the ground entirely and take to the skies? Section 2. Strange Skies and Sounds. The Jodhpur Boom. Konkala UFOs and Jodinga Birds. Let's get our bearings really quick. We're looking at 3 bizarre skybound anomalies: a deafening sound with no source in Jodhpur, glowing UFOs over a contested border at Konkala, and a really horrific behavioral anomaly in birds over in Jatinga. Picture this. It's a quiet afternoon in December 2012, right in the city of Jodhpur. Suddenly, bam, a deafening, terrifying boom violently shakes the entire city. I'm talking windows rattling, absolute panic setting in. Everyone immediately thinks, okay, a military jet just broke the sound barrier directly overhead. But here's the kicker. Both the Indian Air Force and the government officially confirmed that there were absolutely 0 jets breaking the sound barrier anywhere in that region at that time. A massive, citywide shockwave, and the official status? Completely 100% unidentified. Crazy, right? Next up, we travel to the rugged, super isolated Himalayas, specifically the Konkala Pass. Now, this area sits directly on the highly contested Indo-China border. It's essentially this massive no-man's land that neither country's army officially patrols. And out there, in that totally isolated void, local residents, trekkers, tourists, they frequently report seeing strange, glowing lights and unidentified flying objects. Because the terrain is so incredibly difficult to navigate and basically unpopulated, local rumors persistently suggest that a secret, underground alien base is operating right beneath the pass. Now, what's really interesting about this next one is how nature itself seems to just glitch. In the small village of Jatinga in Assam, on very specific, foggy, moonless nights during September and October, something really horrifying happens. Various species of birds inexplicably plummet out of the sky. They just crash straight into trees and buildings in what looks like a mass coordinated suicide. Ornithologists have studied this area extensively, trust me, yet the exact trigger for this mass disorientation and fatal behavior still hotly debated and fundamentally unsolved. We've tried to apply military logs, astronomical observation, and ornithology to these mysteries, and we've come up totally empty. So we really have to ask ourselves, what happens when the realm of science is completely replaced by the dark, enduring echoes of the supernatural?
Section 3. Echoes of Ancient Curses. Kudara, Talakad, and Bengar.
The Kuldara vanishing is a true historical puzzle. Back in the 13th century, this was a highly prosperous settlement of Paliwal Brahmins near Jaisalmer. Everything was fine until we hit the year 1825. Overnight, literally, in a single night, the entire population of Kuldara, along with the populations of 83 surrounding villages, completely vanished without a single trace. The local lore says they fled into the darkness to escape a tyrannical minister, leaving behind a dark curse that forbade anyone from ever settling on their land again. And to this day, the village just sits empty, frozen in ruins, entirely abandoned. 84 entire villages, just gone by dawn. So from a cursed village, we move to a cursed city. May Talakadu be filled with sand. Those were the fateful words spoken back in the 16th century by Queen Alamalama of Mysore after she was displaced. And history shows us this wasn't just some idle threat. The historic site of Talakad, right on the banks of the Kaveri River, used to be filled with incredibly thriving, beautiful temples. Today, those same temples are completely swallowed and buried under massive, sprawling dunes of sand. How a lush riverbank turned into a localized, city-swallowing desert remains a geographical puzzle that just so happens to perfectly align with a centuries-old curse. And then, of course, we have the Bengar Fort. This is famously known as the single most haunted place in all of India. Local legend says that a practitioner of black magic fell in love with a royal inhabitant of the fort, and when his romance was rejected, he doomed the fort and everyone in it with a devastating curse. Now look, it's super easy to dismiss these stories as just local campfire tales, but the reality on the ground tells a very, very different story. Because the paranormal claims surrounding Bongard are so intense, so frequent, and so widely reported, the government actually stepped in. Yes, the Archaeological Survey of India, a formal government body, has legally intervened here. They've erected official warning signs, explicitly prohibiting anyone from entering the fort complex or even lingering near the ruins after sunset. I mean, it really forces us to rethink our assumptions about local myths, right? When ghost stories result in strict, government-enforced curfews, you know you're dealing with an enigma of a massive scale. We've seen communities wiped out by curses and forts locked down by fear. But what if we flip the script completely? Could a modern, functioning town exist completely unprotected by physical security, relying entirely on something else? Section 4. Faith defying all logic. The village of Shani Shingnapur. And this brilliantly illustrates our final mystery today. In Shani Shingnapur, there are no doors. There are no locks. None. Not on the houses, not on the schools, and incredibly, not even on the commercial banks. The entire village operates under this absolute unwavering belief that Lord Shani provides them with divine protection against any crime. And here's the part that makes it a true enigma. It actually works. For centuries, law enforcement has been utterly baffled by the fact that there is virtually zero reported theft in this town. It goes against every instinct of human nature and modern security, yet their pure, unadulterated faith sustains a completely crime-free reality. We've journeyed through unrusting ancient urn, villages of twins, terrifying aerial shockwaves, supernatural deserts, and towns governed purely by faith. These locations prove, beyond a shadow of a doubt, that the map of our world is far from complete. If you found this journey helpful, remember that these mysteries challenge our everyday assumptions about the world we actually live in. With so much of our planet still completely defying modern logic and science, I'm going to leave you with this. What other hidden enigmas are just waiting out there to be discovered? Thank you so much for joining me on this explainer, and keep questioning the unknown.